Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. Bitcoin right now trading at $30,400 per coin, and we've been consolidating here for about a month. Now, if we look back to 2011, not 2011, 2021, what did we see? Well, we did see initially that downturn back in May of 2011, and then, we really didn't start moving back up until July. So, if you were to just take this measurement of consolidation, it took roughly 63 days. And, if we're to take a look here, that first move down, how long has it been? Well, it's only been roughly about 31 days, so about half the amount of time. And, it's interesting, too, because it's happening at the exact same time of year. This started on May 19th, 2021, and we initially saw this move down May 9th of 2022, so roughly around the same time of year. It's really interesting. This is not scientific by any means, but it is interesting to note that. And, these patterns look kind of similar, although I don't think it's anything fractal worthy. We are seeing some similarities, but, it's still a bit of a mystery. I still think we are going to see some consolidation. I think we will come back down to these levels down here, and that's still going to take a little while. BTC Fuel bringing this up as well with regards to the S&P 500 and measuring Bitcoin's price movement with regards to traditional stock markets. So he says the S&P 500 looks bullish. This 4-weekly chart shows that a potential bounce on the 45 to 50 RSI band is in the making. Candle closure in 9 days. In the last 40 years, this led to a bull market resumption. So he is taking the very, very long outlook, looking at 40 years worth of data, and noticing that despite the black swan events that we did see in 1987 and 2020 with the beer flu, eventually what happened was bear markets did get rejected and the bull run did continue. So we saw that in 2003 and then again in 2009. I believe this was the real estate market crash, 2007, 8, and 9. And then we did see a bull market resume. So are we to expect a bounce here? And is that going to reflect in the Bitcoin chart? So something that we should be paying attention to with regards to that. T Analyst here on Twitter also bringing this up. The 6th great bull run in the history of Bitcoin begins. And he's stating the halving has no effect on the Bitcoin chart anymore. It is the stock market that dictates the start of Bitcoin bull runs and the structure of cycles. So he is showing that. Here is proof of that, he says. And this is what is stated in his tweet. A stock market indicator, the golden indicator, is percent bandwidth. So that is percentage of bandwidth, percentage B. Length 7 of SPX crosses the 3 moving average upward below the 0.2 level. Then a first full green bar following a red bar occurs. And you guys can see that. We've seen that on the Bitcoin chart. Taking a look at the Bollinger Bands, what he is noticing is that after we do see that red bar, what happens is a green bar, and that usually dictates a bull run, a bullish move to the upside. So interesting perspective here. Also taking a look at traditional stock markets and correlating that with Bitcoin. So, this is a broader picture outlook. Over the last several years, cryptocurrencies have aligned more and more now with traditional markets, and for good reason. They're being regulated. The space is becoming more and more regulated, and, big financial institutions, banks, and all these organizations looking to adopt cryptocurrency. The World Bank is another group here where they are noticing we are entering a recession phase. And so how are we going to get out of this? Michael at Val5Links brought this to our attention. The World Bank has warned of a possible global recession. For many countries, recession will be hard to avoid. This coming from David Malpass, the president of the World Bank. This is the sharpest slowdown in 80 years. What is he blaming it on? Well, the war in Ukraine, lockdowns in China, supply chain disruptions, and the risk of stagflation are hammering growth. For many countries, recession will be hard to avoid. Markets look forward, so it's urgent to encourage production and avoid trade restrictions. Changes in fiscal, monetary, climate, and debt policy are needed to counter capital misallocation and inequality, he explains. So those are talking points of a sustainable 2030 goal resolution. The World Bank president clarifies on Bloomberg Tuesday that we are not in a global recession yet. However, the downside risk is that it could be a global recession, he opined. One of the key variables is whether supply comes back online in order to add growth and slow down the inflation rate. He emphasized this is the sharpest slowdown in 80 years. Now, my question is, are they going to change monetary policy? Are they going to come up with some kind of reason, some kind of excuse why we definitely 100% absolutely need CBDCs at this moment in time. I mean, whether they say that, well, for cross-border payments, it's going to be easier, or whatever excuse they use. I mean, we don't need CBDCs because we know cross-border payments can be facilitated with RippleNet without the use of CBDCs. I mean, RippleNet can basically transfer anything of value. We know that, but the world doesn't know this kind of thing. And so, it makes me wonder, what's the next trick in their magic bag that they are going to use to get us to accept this reality? And, how is this going to affect everything? How is this going to affect the market, cryptos we hold, CBDCs, and the amount of control that they have? And, these cryptocurrency companies, the ones that are not fully based in solving real world problems. We are now seeing companies like this having to lay off people, like Coinbase was a recent one, and we've heard of many others. But Ripple is one company where that has not been the case. I don't know if you guys saw this. This is Ripple Managing Director Sandy Young, and she was at the Money 2020 conference, I believe, in Amsterdam. She sat down for an interview with CNBC. Listen to what she had to say.
I mean, at Ripple, we're really focused on the long-term utility, not the volatility. Since the early days, we've really focused on solving real-world problems with crypto and blockchain technologies, particularly around cross-border payments, addressing things like transparency, cost, speed, reliability, and we've built a very strong cross-border network based out of that. So I think we remain to be really bullish on that crypto-enabled future for financial services.
I can see the laser focus on strategy, but given valuations have been hit so badly across the sector, even major crypto companies are laying off staff at this point. Is it much more difficult to go out there and raise money now if you need cash?
Look, last 18 months have been the strongest periods for us ever. We've doubled our payments network. We have hundreds of customers with a payment flow run rate of over $15 billion today. So we continue to see strong demand because, again, we are solving real-world problems, real pain points with these technologies.
What's jumped out in recent years, the amount of fintech companies all seemingly doing something similar, whether it's in the crypto space or if it's in the buy now, pay later space. There's a lot of mimicking of business models. Do you think some of the competition is going to fall away because of this difficult backdrop we're talking about?
Yeah, I think, in times like this, obviously still early stages, right? The crypto and blockchain technologies have been in just over 10 years. There's a lot of innovation happening. We see a massive, talent moving from traditional finance into this space, a lot of funding, which does mean it's a great environment to be innovating. Does that mean everybody's going to survive? Of course not, right? That is part of the innovation. Some will, some not. And it's very hard to know, who are the winners and losers. But I think if you focus on, again, solving the real world problems, solving pain points, that's a winning recipe.
All right, I'm going to leave it there. There's about a minute left in this interview, but I think we pretty much captured what Sandy Young really wanted to get across in this interview, talking about Ripple's success over the last 18 months. That has been the strongest for Ripple particularly, and that's not to say that other cryptocurrency companies can say the same. Also, there are going to be winners, there are going to be losers, and Ripple seems very confident, at least as per this interview, that they are going to be the winners in this situation. Despite the fact that the XRP cryptocurrency is trading at, well, at least as of the time of this interview, 39 cents. Let's just take a look at it real quick here. We got an XRP trading at about 40 cents, so about a cent up from yesterday's interview. But this is all just kind of noise right now. I mean, trading in a speculative market, that's what we're still doing. And I thought by the time 2022 came around, there'd be more regulatory clarity and more of the real world utility would be pushing price for certain cryptocurrencies. Of course, we do have the Ripple XRP lawsuit as well, which is definitely going to play a strong role in what happens to the rest of the market moving forward, especially in the United States. But I think that will extend to other parts of the world. Just because, the United States has a big influence on what goes on in markets in the rest of the world as well. So great interview here from Sandy Young of Ripple, giving us the positive news, telling us, Ripple's still on track, very strategy focused, which is good. And, also, not only is Ripple on track, but we're also seeing Ripple partners really kind of establish the partnerships that they are seeing that they need to make in order to succeed in this world of winners and losers. I mean, there are going to be winners and losers. If you're already utilizing Ripple net technology. Well, why not capitalize on that and start making your company even bigger and stronger? This from T-Hole Bet at XRP with regards to Ripple customer Airwallex. So this is just another example of that. Airwallex is now streamlining invoice payments with expanded Zero collaboration. So this is another partner, Ripple enabled, who is partnering up with another company for another use case. So Airwallex is moving forward with business invoice finance innovation by expanding and extending its long-term partnership with accounting software firm Zero through payment link integration for Zero invoices, or X0, I'm going to pronounce it Zero for the purpose of this video, which aims to streamline how Australian businesses get paid. So that's interesting. The broadening collaboration also includes Airwallex's multi-currency capability. So here's where we're starting to see multi-currency, of course, enter the whole concept of cross-border payments there, meaning customers can issue and settle invoices in multiple currencies, according to a company press release on Tuesday. Through the partnership, Airwallex's Australia-based customers using Zero's invoicing service can embed an Airwallex payment link in their invoice. The link allows clients to collect funds from invoice recipients straight into their Airwallex account in over 170 currencies. Now, I gotta think to myself, would that have been possible without the Ripple partnership? Chances are it would not have. And so, this is just, again, another example of where this partnership, although they have been partnered with Zero in this particular circumstance, we see other companies that forge new partnerships. This is a long-standing partnership, and they have been partnered with this company for a while, but now they're realizing, look, because of how our company has changed, because we are now running on RippleNet, or have been for a while, but they are now starting to see that there are more applications, more ideas. The thought makers, the brainstormers over there at Airwallex, they're realizing, oh wait, if we can do this and do this, then we can save our customers money here, and we can make more money here, so maybe this should be another avenue where the company goes. And I think we're starting to see this more and more, this is why I bring up these articles all the time, because we are seeing these types of partnerships, Ripple-enabled companies partnering with other Ripple-enabled companies in some cases, and in other cases, non-Ripple-enabled companies, and we are starting to see how those mutually beneficial partnerships are really helping to make the ecosystem what it is, and eventually going to drive more utility to the XRPL, thus bringing more demand to the cryptocurrency XRP. So interesting news there. Wanted to thank T-Hole Bet for posting that. And also this guy, switching gears a little bit, to Gary Gensler. And notice this, SEC lawyers were quitting, and I talked about this in a video I did a couple of weeks ago. This coming from Sujeep Indap. SEC lawyers quitting because Gensler wants to litigate cases and not settle. Now, I don't think we originally had a reason why these SEC lawyers were quitting. I mean, we had some assumptions I think that we could have made, but some of the exits have stemmed at least partly from conflicts with SEC Chair Gary Gensler's approach to enforcement and his drive for more litigation and settlement penalties, according to two former senior SEC officials who have returned to private practice and an industry recruiter who has worked with attorneys leaving the agency. So they are going on the record and saying that. In contrast to prior SEC leadership, they said, Gensler's top brass has pushed back more often on settlement proposals, which has produced tensions between the front office and the litigators trying to move cases across the finish line. Adding to the frustration is the feeling that the agency is pushing cases with weaknesses, one lawyer said. So, cases with weaknesses, eh? Could that be perhaps the Ripple SEC lawsuit? Finding holes like a piece of Swiss cheese in that thing and just not letting go like a dog with a bone. Here's a quote. I like to try cases, I also like to win, said a former SEC official who left to enter private practice. I was looking down the pipeline at the types of cases that the SEC is going to bring and not seeing a path towards victory on the SEC side. So could we be in for a lot more SEC cases that end up losing? And what is that going to mean for the crypto space? Of course, the Ripple SEC case is the big one for us specifically, and I think it is good that, we are experiencing this right now. I know it might not feel good, but I think this is ultimately going to be good, not just for XRP hodlers, because once we get that clarity, once the SEC finally realizes, boy, this was a big mistake, and we get that clarity, I think the FOMO is going to pump in, but not just FOMO. I think institutional money will finally get the clarity. Remember what Kevin O'Leary said all those months ago now when he was saying, I'm not going to touch cryptocurrencies without regulatory clarity. He even said that about XRP. And that's smart money, okay? Smart money is going to move into assets that have regulatory clarity because they don't want to take any risks, and I mean for good reason. So here's a response to this. A dingo ate my XRP. Ripple case is going to be an enormous loss for Gensler. The fair notice defense they're using, and Hinman's speech docs, will be a blueprint for any crypto company the SEC goes after. The agency failed to provide guidance to the market, and it's biting them in the ass. It certainly is. Also notice this, guys, from Stéphane Hubert. You must be kidding us, Gary Gensler. So this was a statement just released by Gary Gensler. New financial technologies change the face of finance. Other countries are competitive, seeking to surpass our own capital markets. Our current national market system lacks a level playing field to be as fair and competitive as possible. Now, these are some highlighted clips, and this is what Gary Gensler stated, that new financial technologies and business models continue to change finance. As we know, other countries are developing deep competitive capital markets, seeking to surpass our own, Gensler, and the lack of a level playing field that our current national market system is as fair and competitive as possible for investors. Oh my goodness. You got to be kidding me. I mean, if you're stating this now, it almost seems like you're doing a 180 and you're completely going against what you have been saying from the beginning. It's convenient for these guys to do this kind of thing, I guess, at a point, to be in with the popular trend. It's like politicians following the polls. You wonder why politicians flip-flop so much. Well, it's because the polls are saying something new today. So, I'm going to just follow what the majority of people want so that I can stay in power. Oh boy. And if you were ever wondering about a concerted effort to spread FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt against XRP, well, you're not the only one. Matt Hamilton brought this up, and I thought this was great. It kind of reminded me of a clip on YouTube that I saw years ago now about how mainstream media is basically parroting the same narrative no matter what network you're from, no matter what regional jurisdiction it's in. Basically, the message is the same, essentially getting from the hires up a script of how things should be worded. So this brought to us by Matt Hamilton here. So if you're ever wondering about this, it's not. You are just being told to repeat the same as everyone else without doing any thinking. Tell your handler to mix things up a bit, at least, to make it a bit more obvious. So here are some tweets from who knows who these people are, I guess Bitcoin maximalists, essentially parroting the exact same phrase. And Matt Hamilton, I guess, did a search on Twitter for centralized and governed by a few authorities. And so here are the tweets. XRP's supply and issuance are centralized and governed by a few authorities. So is it not the old trick again? And then another one here from Dave. Dave died again. XRP's supply and issuance is centralized and governed by a few authorities. Ripple. It's not up for debate and no comparison to Bitcoin. Again, here, Kevin Xiao, centralized and governed by a few authorities because the total supply already exists. Down here, Kyle, XRP supply and issuance is centralized and governed by a few authorities. So you can see here, these guys are parroting off, and I don't know if they're bots. I don't know what they are. I don't know who is trying to influence the narrative. That is up for debate and speculation. But I think a lot of this goes to show you who is worried and that it is a concerted effort. It isn't just willy-nilly cryptocurrency influencers not wanting XRP to get any kind of limelight, but it is a concerted effort. This is a very sophisticated operation here. Well, I maybe I'm overusing the term sophisticated because, as we know, Bitcoin maxis can't really think past a certain narrative here. But guys, it's right here. Just goes to show you, centralized and governed by a few authorities. That is the buzz line here for the Bitcoin maxis. And so, it does go to show you that this is a concerted FUD effort against Ripple and XRP. I mean, it's not doing them too well, though, because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's going to be about the court. And John Dean recently did a talk. He says the Hinman documents will never see the light of day. This brought to us by Michael at Val5 Links, reported on by cryptonews.net. So John Deaton says Hinman's docs will never see the light of day. SEC may settle with Ripple rather than surrendering the documents. With expectations high that the SEC will be forced to surrender Hinman's documents, Attorney John Deaton said the agency would rather opt for a settlement rather than make the documents public. There has been a lot of controversy, as we know. Ripple is convinced that the speech would put to rest the argument that XRP is a security. And so John Deaton here, and I'll link this in the description if you guys are interested, John Deaton has given his opinion about the expected outcome of the fight over the possession of the Hinman documents. Following the proceedings of this week's conference, which just happened 2 days ago, Attorney Deaton noted that it is evident that Sarah Netburn will order the SEC to surrender the Hinman documents. Interestingly, the SEC's determination to continue holding onto the documents may give Ripple and XRP hodlers a breakthrough they need, which is an end to the lawsuit. Speaking in a live video, Attorney John Deaton said the SEC is compelled to produce the documents by Judge Sarah Netburn. The agency will immediately call for a settlement rather than to surrender the Hinman documents to Ripple. So, John Deaton is proposing that the SEC would rather settle than to hand over the documents. And I think if the SEC would rather settle, that obviously speaks volumes. We don't have to know the details that are in the Hinman documents, but what does that say to you? Well, those documents have such damning evidence that the SEC's credibility could be on the line, not just in terms of this particular case, but perhaps in terms of any case that they bring upon any cryptocurrency company moving forward. And so rather than, this is John Deaton's opinion, by the way, rather than handing over those documents, they would likely rather settle with Ripple. Interesting to note, those emails, those comments are never going to see the day of light outside the SEC office. If the SEC is forced to turn over those documents, that's when settlement can happen. So another quote there. However, if things do not go the way the Ripple community is expecting, and Judge Netburn does not order the SEC to produce the documents, the lawsuit will head straight to summary judgment. So that is the other possibility here. Of course, a lot is on the line here, but we've got Cindy Young saying Ripple has had the strongest 18 months the company has ever seen. They continue to forge ahead, continue to forge partnerships. 95% of Ripple's business is outside the United States anyway, so a lot of this doesn't really matter in the short term, and a 40-cent XRP continuing to follow the rest of the market, which is basically par for the course at this moment in time. Have you bought more XRP at these discounted prices? Are you guys waiting for the price to fall further? Tell me down in the comments what you guys think, and please subscribe to the channel, guys. I really want to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2022. Let's see if we can make it happen. If you guys aren't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video too, because the thumbs up really helps with the algorithm. Thumbs up if you like the video, and put a comment down in the comment section. I'll see you in the next one, guys.